Hello everyone, my name is Shrikar and I am from Information Technology branch of IRE College. Today I am going to explain topic from the subject Object Oriented Software Engineering, and our first slide is title. Title is Software Components. Today I am going to discuss about the software components. Okay, our current slide is introduction. Introduction is software components represent a way of building software systems by assembling independent and reusable units. Instead of writing everything from scratch, they help manage complexity in large software systems by dividing functionality into well-defined parts. And component-based development supports better design, maintenance, and long-term evolution of software. Okay, this is the introduction of software components, and our next slide is need for software components. Okay, what are the needs of software components means there are three main points. Modern software systems are large, distributed, and continuously evolving. With increased development complexity, traditional monolithic designs make systems hard to modify and scale. Software components address these problems by promoting modular and replaceable system parts. And our next slide is software components in object-oriented engineering. Okay, what are the software components in object-oriented engineering means? Object-oriented engineering focuses on abstraction, encapsulation, and modular design. Software components extend these principles by grouping multiple related classes into deployable units. And this approach bridges the gap between object design and system level architecture. Okay, and our next slide is definition of software component. What is the definition of software component means? We should know the first definition of software component. A software component is a self-contained unit that provides specific services to other parts of the system. It interacts with other components only through well-defined interfaces, and internal implementation details are hidden, ensuring separation of concerns. Yeah, internal implementation details are hidden means it is encapsulation or abstraction. Okay, and our next slide is key properties of software components. Okay, what are the key properties of software components means components are designed to be reusable across different systems and contexts. They are loosely coupled, meaning minimal dependency on other components, and high internal cohesion improves reliability and understandability of the systems. Okay, and our next slide is component based software development. What is component based software development means? Software systems are constructed by selecting and assembling existing components. Development focuses more on integration than writing in new code. This approach reduces development time and increases productivity. Okay, component-based software development key feature in advantages are this approach reduces development time and increases productivity. Okay, this will increase the profits of the company. Okay, and development focus more on integration than writing in new code, which means um, it will focus more on integration instead of creating from the scratch. Okay, and our next slide is interfaces and contracts. Interfaces and contracts means interfaces define the service of a component provides and requires, and clear interface contracts ensure correct interaction between components, and stable interfaces allow components to evolve independently. Interfaces means interfaces define the service of a component provides and requires, and clear interface contracts ensure correct interaction between components, and stable interfaces allow components to evolve independently. And our next slide is reusability evolution. What is reusability evolution means? Software components are designed so that at the same time component can be reused in multiple applications. without modification, which reduces development effort as well as and promote consistency across systems. And our reusability helps developers rely on already tested and proven components, which improves reliability and reduces the risk of introducing new defects. And component based design supports evolution by allowing internal changes and improvements without affecting other parts of the system. Okay, component based design supports especially it will allow internal changes and improvements without affecting the other parts of the system. And as long changes and improvements without affecting other parts of the system, as long as interface remain stable until the system interface remains stable, it will allow the internal changes and improvements without affecting the other system parts. Okay, and our next slide is reuse component independence. Component independence means each software component is developed as an independent unit with minimal dependency on other components, enabling parallel development by different teams. Which means, for example, there are so many components in a computer system, the dependencies of each component is minimal on the other component, so that the improvement and changes in one component does not affect the other components. Okay, it does not affect the other components, so that it will allow the parallel development by different teams. And our next point is independent components can be tested and deployed separately, which simplifies debugging and reduces system downtime during updates. Okay, as I said, component independence means each component can be tested and deployed separately, which simplifies debugging and reduce system downtime during updates. For example, there are n number of components. We have to check the entire components. Okay, for example, there is a bug in single component. We can fix the bug in single component, so it will be easy to find the bug and minimize the time of testing. Okay, and our next slide is component integration. Okay, component integration means software systems achieve functionally through the interaction and integration of multiple components rather than a single monolithic code base. Successful integration depends on clear defined interfaces, compatible data formats, and agreed communication protocols. Proper integration strategies, wait a minute. Proper integration strategies ensure system scalability, flexibility, and long-term maintainability. Okay, okay, component integration helps us to successful integration depends on clearly defined interfaces, compatible data formats, and agreed communication protocols. And our next slide is components versus objects. Okay, what is the difference between components and objects means objects are small, fine-grained entities that encapsulate states and behavior at the lower level of abstraction. Components are coarse-grained units composed of multiple objects and represents functional module of a system. Component address system level concerns such as deployment, reuse, and integration, which go beyond object level design. Okay, and our next slide is benefits of using software components. Okay, what are the advantages of software components means by using software components means software components significantly reduce system complexity by organizing functionality into well-defined and manageable units. Okay, instead of using entire as a one module, we divide these components into manageable units, so that we can reduce the testing time and we can fix the bugs easily, so the overallly the system usage will be easier. Okay, and they enable faster development by allowing teams to reuse existing components instead of developing everything from scratch. As I said, they enable faster deployment development by allowing teams to reuse existing components instead of developing everything from scratch. Instead of writing new code, by using existing code, we can upgrade small changes in a component so that it will decrease the developing time. Okay, and The reuse of tested components improve software quality, reliability, and maintainability. Okay, and our next slide is in conclusion. Okay, in conclusion, we can say that software components provide a powerful approach to managing complexity in large software systems, and they promote reuse, independence, and easier maintenance across the software lifecycle. And component based engineering is essential for building scalable, flexible, and evolving modern applications. Okay, I hope you understand the session. Thank you.